Welcome to a conversation. Kind of a conversation. Mm, Depends on what you consider a conversation. Probably mostly just me yapping about Skater of the Year. Nonetheless, here we are. It's that time of year again for everybody to have an opinion, get pissed off. I personally, 13 years ago, there was a SOTY decision that I thought was pretty dumb. And a mixture of like passively being fine with Saudis and not caring has ensued since then. I was pretty hyped when I shot one though. I thought that that was pretty sick. But we're going to be talking about each of the SOTY finalists and discussing whether or not they should be bestowed the honor of Thrasher's Skater of the Year. This year we have less finalists than in the past. I think that's the case. It seems like in some years they had a fuckload of people. Like any pro that put out a part, they would put as a SOTY contender. But it looks like there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. Should know that. I just spent the past I don't know however much time watching all these guys' parts. So we'll talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and we'll be honest. No gimmicks, weird noises, or hating for the sake of hating. That being said, there are some clear-cut differences in the actual contendership, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, of SOTY. So I'm going to scroll down, and let's go through this one by one, starting with Kevin. I don't know how to pronounce the A and the E when they're combined. I don't even know what that's called. So I'm sorry. We'll say Kevin B. Let's see in my elaborate, well thought out notes. Okay, yeah, the creature video part and the bad trip video part. So I have a couple thoughts here. The creature part was good. I thought that it was pretty fucking sick. And the usually like a hell bomb is like kind of like, all right, that's gnarly. But this was kind of like a whole different level. So a whole different level of risk, if I'm being quite honest. I wouldn't really like lose my mind or be that upset if he got SOTY, if for nothing else, the fact that he just put his life on the line for it. That's a lot of fucking dedication and pretty cool. One thing though is that like his parts were very sectioned, and if you're going to do a sectioned part, and what I mean by that is like you have this part, you have like something that kind of like seems like your ender, and then you transition songs, and then there's like the real prolonged banger section. That is what I consider a section part. There are two ways to do a section part. Your part can be fucking insane in the beginning, and everyone can be shocked that it's sectioned and that there's a banger section, which I think that's the right way to do it. And then there's like you put most of your regular footage in the beginning, and then you stack up like almost a part's worth of bangers at the end. And I think that that is an inferior way to do it. I would much rather see like a B-side part come out, or like a full part before the part type of thing, and then have the actual part be just bangers. Unless the entire thing is going to be bangers, like thinking like a Mark Johnson type style, or honestly someone else that's on this list. So that's Kevin B. Overall, wouldn't hate it, but does not have my vote. So let's go ahead and check out the next one. Simon Bannerot. Bannerot. I had a lot of fun watching Simon's parts. Like he had a Spitfire part, a girl part, and some A6 footage. Had a ton of fun. I thought that the spot selection was probably the best of the bunch. Part was interesting. The spots were varied. The style was varied. The style was good. Yeah, overall, just really good, but not really SOTY level from like a level of difficulty standpoint. So that's kind of my conclusion on that one. Honestly, one of my favorite skaters to watch on this list, and hadn't watched his parts until I was prepping for this video. So super stoked and hyped for more footage. It's just a bit of an unfortunate spot where it's like kind of just not good enough. All right, let's talk about the next one, Antonio Durao. Okay, this one's gonna be tough. I think this one's gonna be tough. Let me start with the positives. Love the style. Absolutely love the style. Skates fast, which is fucking gnarly. And, overall, a very good skater, like worthy of being a high level pro. However, I have some issues. So, like, for example, the Wallenberg thing with the frontside flip with the Ollie North or Ollie South or like foot kick out, whatever you want to call it. I hate to be that guy, but doing an ABD and kicking your foot out is like making the ABD 0.0000001% harder. Like it's basically the same trick. I know a lot of people that haven't tried something like that or maybe haven't been skating that long might not realize this, but it's really not as impressive as any of the actual MBDs that went down on Wallenberg, even on this SOTY list. So I thought that was a little bit lackluster. Had a part that was entirely filmed on an iPhone. That's kind of weird. Thought that the part was pretty good, but also like on an iPhone. Yeah, I think that's about it. This is a no for me. Greyson Fletcher, this was solid showing. I would say a really solid showing. The thing that I think people might not understand about Greyson Fletcher's skating is the level of difficulty at those parks that he skates. So I'm from Philly, skated FDR a ton, not well, but vert like that is just so much different than what you're skating at like your run of the mill skate park. So like the level of difficulty, risk, and everything that involved is astronomical. One of the best kickflips I've ever seen, hands down, in his part. Definitely one of the best kickflips I've ever seen. Overall, super strong showing. You're going to hear this for a lot of the guys. I just don't think it was good enough for SOTY. I also think that there's a better vert skater on this list, a totally different style. So, like in his lane, I think Greyson Fletcher definitely did the best. The combination of skill sets from a lot of the other guys on this list, I think it's one of those things where it's like had a really, really good year, but it's just not quite good enough. But overall, great part and would recommend. All right. Chris Joslin. This is going to be another fun one. I thought that the Wallenberg NBD big flip and the tray flip were great. Absolutely great. Like skateboarding history as much as anything else. I think if there was a guy to take it down, Chris Joslin makes a ton of sense to take down the El Toro NBD. The thing that we need to reckon with in the skate community is, are we going to give someone SOTY for one or two tricks? And I'm not saying the rest of his part wasn't good, but it was all fucking tricks that we've seen him do before on bigger shit. So I don't know, like if I'm being honest, I was watching it, I was like, oh, fakey big flip, switch frontside flip on gaps that are smaller than in his Be True part. Like, I don't know what you want me to do with this. If he wins SOTY, I can't be upset because he tray flipped Del Toro. But I think whether or not Joslin wins will be a very interesting reckoning, what we consider the qualifications of winning SOTY. On to TJ Rodgers. TJ Rodgers, I think, had a bunch of parts. He had the one that just came out, Happy Friday, from the ground up, and then he had like a Toronto part, which I think that TJ Rodgers would be a fine choice for SOTY. I think that he checked all the boxes, multiple gnarly parts, head and shoulders above all of the sort of regular pro parts that came out. Like his parts, the tricks that he did, right up there with the best of the best in his respective lane. So, like, I'm thinking the switch shove down Wallenberg, as well as that huge switch 180 with the rest of all of his parts being very solid. So I think he's a good choice for SOTY. Tom Shaar, this one's going to be quick. I think hands down, can deserve SOTY, does deserve SOTY in his respective lane. I think his parts. He had two. I think that they were innovative. I think that they were insane. I think that he proved that in his lane, he's head and shoulders above all the other skaters. So if it's going to go to a vert skater, I have absolutely no qualms with Tom Shaar winning SOTY. Gabriel Summers part, when I watched that head slam, I like, oh my gosh, I gasped. I was like, holy fucking shit. So props to him for like laying it out on the line and putting out a really, really great part. I think that he falls into the trap that some of the other guys fell into, where the part was excellent, A tier pro part, but just didn't set itself apart from the pack in terms of level of skill, which is a super unfortunate spot to be in, because I don't think he did anything wrong. Like, I don't have qualms with his part in the same way that I had qualms with some of the other people's parts on this list. But that being said, I just don't think it was good enough for SOTY. I mean, there can only be one, so what are you gonna do? Zion. This one was interesting because the Zion part kind of felt like those Naja parts that would come out, where you're like, oh, maybe it's this year. Like, the skating is obviously better than everyone else. I'm gonna stop comparing to Naja. The style is very good. The tricks were really hard. The trick selection was interesting. I wouldn't have any qualms with Zion winning SOTY.